Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this video is actually an impromptu video that I'm filming. The day that I'm uploading this video onto my YouTube channel, I was actually planning on uploading an unboxing video of a new bag that I bought from Chanel. So I was filming the video and I was unboxing the bag, which I had never seen before because it was just shipped to me from the boutique. So by the end of the video, even though I noticed that there were a few quality issues with the bag, I decided that I was going to keep it because I really like the color of the bag and I was almost certain that I wouldn't be able to get an exchange for it. It would be completely sold out. So I decided that I was going to keep it. But as I was editing the video, it was very obvious from my facial expressions and also a lot of the things that I was saying that I just was not happy with this bag. And it's not a cheap bag whatsoever. It costs quite a bit of money. So I decided that I was going to return it. And I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, Chanel's quality has been declining in recent years and it's not what it used to be. And not to say that I doubted what anyone was saying, but it's one of those things that you don't 100% believe it until it happens to you yourself, because sometimes you hear about the negative things more than the positive things. So after I noticed these issues with this bag, I started thinking of all the things that I purchased recently from Chanel and like the little things that I've noticed that was just kind of not the same as what I used to see on their items. So yeah, this video is just going to be me talking about some of the issues that I noticed in the things that I purchased recently. And there's some things for you guys to look out for if you're buying something from Chanel. So yeah, let's get into this video. So I'm going to go in chronological order with the items that I bought from Chanel recently. So the first one that I bought recently was in early March, and it's this Chanel 19 card holder in the very highly sought after kind of lilac pink color. So when I bought this card holder, I had wanted to swap this one with an older card holder that I had that had the smaller quilts and the regular CC logo on it. And both of the card holders are lambskin, but when you look at it side by side, it was very obvious that the older one that I had was just much better quality. The lambskin was so much softer and like buttery smooth compared to this one. And also the quilt on that one was also way puffier than this one. But I kind of thought, you know what, a lot of people have said that the lambskin on the Chanel 19 bags is just not as delicate as the ones on the classic flap. So I thought, okay, that might explain it. So that was the first thing that I kind of overlooked. The quilts, whatever, it's just an SLG, right? I'm more concerned about the quilts not being puffy on a bag than an SLG. So this card holder, it's actually not that obvious and you probably can't tell on video. And it's mostly because I'm just like a very detail-oriented person. So this right side over here, this top card slot versus the left side over here, this side is actually a little bit taller than this left side over here. If I'm counting the amount of stitches, it's the same, but it's just a hint taller on the side than the side, and yeah, every time I look at it, it's quite obvious to me. And the last thing is on the CC logo over here, where the leather is kind of interwoven through the chain. So the parts that's kind of the bulgiest, the ones that stick out the most, on the leather, I don't know if it was because of the dust bag that came with this, because the dust bag is black. So I don't know if it was rubbing against this logo over here, but it was just like little black dots all over it. I had to take one of the buffing cloths that you get with any of the classic flaps, and I was basically buffing at this for what must have been at least half an hour. I was basically buffing at this until I got like 90% of it off. Honestly, you could still see some of it right now, but yeah, it is what it is. So that's the issues that was wrong with this card holder. So after this, I had bought this other card case. because I decided that I was going to try to see if I could downsize my full-size wallet to this card case. And this one, there is nothing that's like majorly wrong with it. I'm not going to be listing nearly as many things as with the card holder. But once again, the quilts are just not nearly as puffy as, you know, the other card holder that I had or the bags that I have. And on top of that, the lambskin also doesn't feel as luxurious. And now with this, there kind of is no excuse for it because this is kind of like the classic looking style. And it's not like, you know, you can blame it on the lambskin being different on the Chanel 19 bags. So yeah, those were the two things that I noticed that was wrong with this item. I don't even want to say that it was defective or anything like that because it's not. It's just, you know, when you have something to compare it to, it's just not up to the same standards. But the thing is, I really like the color of this. So much so that I decided I was going to get a bag in the same color. So this color is actually the neon blue color that they released for their 21S collection. Although it doesn't look neon blue whatsoever, it's actually this really, really pretty sky blue color. And just like, look at this color. It's amazing. And not to mention, it's in silver hardware, which I find is harder and harder to come by nowadays. Everything is in light gold hardware, and that's not my favorite. And honestly, with this type of color, it just looks so much better and like so perfect with silver hardware. So I thought I can't miss out on this color in a bag. So when I first unboxed the bag, I was really happy because it's just so pretty. But then as I was kind of taking off like the felt and the stuffing and unwrapping the tissue paper that was on the chain strap and everything, I just started noticing one thing after another that was just wrong with this bag. And I know that a lot of people say like, oh, check for any pop stitches, or if this flap over here is uneven, and if on the back over here this pocket is lopsided. So I checked all of those things the first thing, and that was not an issue with this bag. None of those were issues. But the most obvious thing that I noticed was like, and I don't even know why this happened, because you would think that they would at least stuff the bag properly when it's coming from the workshop. So if you look at the side over here, you can see that this thing is like sticking out a little bit. And I kind of trained it a little bit to go back in like it's supposed to. So if you look at this side, it's like perfectly fine. It's like kind of slanting inwards as it should be. But then on this side over here, I think it was just like overstuffed. There was this one wad of tissue paper inside, and it must have been pushing against here. So it is wanting to stick out, and even now it kind of wants to pop back out. And honestly, I'm not sure if this would completely fix itself over time. It might just be like that permanently if the leather is stretched out. So that's the first thing that I noticed. And the second thing is, and I don't even know how this happened, because all the stitching all throughout the bag, like literally all throughout the bag, is like frayed. The thread is like completely fuzzy and frayed. I'm not sure if those are the proper terms for it. I'll try my best to insert some photos of the fuzz or fraying on the threads. Honestly, it's really hard to capture. So basically it looks like before they stitch the bag together, they rub the roll of thread on sandpaper, and then they decided to stitch it onto the bag. And yeah, it just looks really, really kind of like messy almost. And I don't even know how that happened, because it's just thread, and it's not like any of the leather is like scuffed or anything, which you would imagine that if the thread was all frayed, then the leather would be all messed up too. But the leather is actually perfectly fine, aside from the fact that it also doesn't feel as buttery smooth as my old bags do. And I was like thinking, like, is it because the thread is just more obvious when it's on a lighter colored bag? So what I did was I compared it to two of my other classic flaps. I tried to compare like with like, even though I don't have any other mini rectangular flaps. So this one I've owned for over 5 years at this point, and I've used it a decent amount. So you would think that the wear and tear on an old bag should be worse than a brand new bag. But I was looking at this entire thing and I don't see any fraying threads whatsoever. There's like, I mean, the only kind of like fuzz I can see on it is just dust on the bag. I should probably clean it, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the threading on this bag. And I also looked at another classic flap that I have, which is a tiny bit newer. And this one was maybe 3.5 years or something at this point. So this one I haven't used as much as my black one, but this one does have a little bit of fraying threads, if I'm being completely honest. It has a little bit, but it's nowhere near the situation with the neon blue one, this one that I bought recently. So maybe it has just gotten a little bit worse over time, but it's just not super obvious until now. But the weird thing is that on the card case, the thread is actually perfectly fine. Like, I don't know what is going on. The thread is just perfectly fine on this. And I'm actually really disappointed because maybe the other issues I can overlook, but the fraying threads just look messy and it looks like worn out in a way. And yeah, you can't really see it when you're using the bag and wearing it. It's only when I'm looking at it up close, especially with the lights when I'm filming, that makes it super obvious. But honestly, even if I'm looking at it in daylight, I can still see it. So that's the second major thing. And then the third one is another one that really irks me too, but I could probably overlook it if that was the only issue that was wrong with it. So I'm going to pull out this chain and then you're going to see that there are some serious issues wrong with the chain. So actually, I hope I can just recreate it. I'm trying to show you guys that it's not like I'm doing anything like particularly wrong with taking the chain out. So, oh yeah, okay, so there's already one that is over here. So if you can kind of see right here, is this showing up properly over here? So can you see it's right there. Can you see like the kink on the chain where it's kind of like twisted where the leather is going through the chain? This can happen to any part of the chain strap. It's not just this one piece over here that's a little bit faulty. So basically, if I just look at the chain wrong, that would happen. And yeah, I can fix it. Like I just fixed it right now. You just have to kind of like fiddle with it a little bit. But honestly, that is just a complete waste of time to have to keep fixing it. And actually there's like 2 more instances of that down here also. And it's actually harder to fix when it's close to the actual bag. If it's up here, then it is kind of easy to fix, but like who wants to be doing that all the time? And I thought that, you know, as I'm using the bag, I probably won't really be bothered by it all that much. But I was trying on the bag and I was looking in the mirror and honestly, it looks really awful when it's twisted like that. Even if I were to be super careful with it, like I'm not doing anything major with the chain right now, but there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, there's like 4 areas right now that has that issue. And if I were just to like hold it together like this and I let go, that will just easily happen to the bag. And once again, I decided to look at my older classic flaps to see if that was an issue. I mean, like, you would think that I would notice having used these bags for so many years. So I was looking at the 2 that I have and I could do whatever. Like I could completely like scrunch up the chain, however, and when I let go, it just looks perfectly fine. So I looked at this black one and it didn't have that issue, and I also looked at my purple one and it also didn't have that issue. And yeah, that's just, I mean, that's quite a few things that's wrong with this bag. And honestly, right now I'm looking at the screen and it's so pretty. I'm so tempted to keep this. I mean, usually my husband is like the first one to say, if you're not 110% happy with the item, just return it. But even he is hesitating because he also thinks this color is really, really pretty. But yeah, I guess if you guys are seeing this video, I have returned it. Otherwise, I would have uploaded the unboxing video instead. But yeah, I think it's just, with all this hype that is going on with Chanel, I think people are just accepting all the flaws that are wrong with any of their items. I mean, I'm almost certain, actually, I'm certain that once I return this bag, someone else is going to buy it and they're probably going to be perfectly okay with it. And I mean, everyone can decide for themselves if they're willing to take a flaw on a bag or not. I mean, I was looking at some photos of other people that have the same exact bag, and I think that at least the issue with the chain is still apparent on their photos. I mean, they're okay with it. I don't know. You guys let me know, is that something you're willing to overlook? Or what's even better is, do you guys also have that same issue with the chain on your bag? And if you do, is there a way to fix it permanently? Or why did you decide to stick with the bag and kind of like overlook it? I don't know. I think it's kind of one of those things where if I didn't know that it was possible not to have this type of issue with the chain, then I'll just chalk it up to the fact that it's not just simply a chain strap, it's actually leather and chain. So I don't know. Hopefully if I ever decide to get another one of these, it would be better. I mean, yeah, I don't know what else to say for this, but just the fact that like if you're getting one of these bags, or not even bags, even the SLGs cost quite a bit of money. So whatever you're getting from Chanel, just make sure that you double check it, triple check it, and are absolutely certain that there's nothing wrong with it. Or if there is something wrong with it, think about it over and over to see if you can actually accept that. Because yeah, this bag cost $4,000 and that's just not acceptable, all the issues that's wrong with it. I mean, those little things on, you know, like this card holder, this was $500, which is not cheap, but I can accept the issues with it. And you know, this one didn't have that many issues. They're super minor, and yeah, I could kind of accept the fact that the leather is just not as great as on my older pieces. But on a bag where everything is so apparent, I don't know, it's just, for me personally, I don't think it's worth it. So yeah, I hope this video was somewhat interesting to watch. Maybe it was informative, helpful for you guys if you're kind of trying to figure out what things to look out for regarding the quality of an item that you purchased from Chanel. So yeah, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below what quality issues you've had with Chanel for any of the items that you've looked at or bought or whatever. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do consider subscribing for new videos every single week, and I'll leave 2 videos on the screen for you to watch next. So I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.